Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really digging into something pretty fundamental. How we talk to children, how we connect with them.
Yeah, not just the basics, but the real skill involved in building those strong relationships.
And for this deep dive, we're looking at a really foundational text, aren't we? A book by Dr. Haim Ginott.
That's right. He started as a school teacher, then became a psychologist. And his work, well, it really shifted how people thought about parenting. Huge influence on workshops worldwide.
And this source, it challenges that common idea head on. The one that says, parenting is just about love plus common sense.
It really does. Ginott argues it's more like surgery. It needs very specific skills.
Skills,
Why?
not just good intentions.
Exactly. He uses this powerful comparison. Words can be like knives. Used carelessly, they inflict these deep emotional wounds.
Wow, okay, so love isn't enough. Good intentions aren't enough.
They're essential, of course, but not sufficient on their own. Just like a surgeon needs training, parents need to learn specific communication skills to avoid causing harm, even unintentionally, and to actually help kids grow emotionally strong.
So our mission today is pretty clear then. We're diving into this source, pulling out the key insights, maybe some surprising facts, the practical stuff that can give you a shortcut to understanding this better.
Right. Moving away from just reacting based on our own feelings in the moment towards interactions that are skilled, that build confidence, build responsibility in kids.
Okay, where do we start? What's the first big takeaway?
Well, maybe the most crucial starting point from Ginott is recognizing that children, they rarely communicate their true feelings or needs directly.
You mean their messages are kind of coded?
Exactly. Coded. We have to be detectives, really. What they say isn't always the real story.
Okay, give us an example.
The source tells this great story about a 10-year-old boy, Andy. He kept asking his father, who was a lawyer, these very specific questions.
Like what?
Like, what's the exact number of abandoned children in Harlem, then in New York City, in the U.S., in the whole world?
Huh. And the dad?
Understandably, right. He starts lecturing about social problems, looking up stats. He figures Andy's developing some social conscience.
Makes sense.
But Andy just wasn't satisfied. The questions kept coming, getting more intense. And that's when the father had this realization.
Oh, was it?
Andy wasn't asking about global issues, all those questions. They were coming from a really personal, immediate fear.
Which was?
He was afraid his parents might abandon him.
Wow. That's quite a leap from statistics on Harlem.
It is. So the effective response wasn't more facts. It was the father addressing that hidden fear.
How did he do that?
He mirrored it back. He said something like, "You're worried that your parents might someday abandon you. Let me reassure you, we will not desert you. And if this ever bothers you again, please tell me so I can help you stop worrying."
So validating the fear, offering reassurance, straight to the real issue.
Exactly. And this connects to another key point in the source. Arguing with the child's feelings or perceptions. It's just futile.
Right. There's that example of 12-year-old Helen who got a B on a test.
Yeah, and she tells her mother, "I know you'll be disappointed. I know you want me to get an A."
And the mother immediately denies it.
Yeah.
But I don't care. A B is fine. How could you say that?
Which naturally just leads to a fight, right? Helen fires back, "Then why do you always yell when I don't get an A?"
Because the mother denied Helen's perception of the dynamic, her feeling about it, instead of just hearing her out.
Precisely. And that's a core principle here. When a child is flooded with strong emotions, disappointment, fear, anger, whatever, they literally can't hear advice or criticism properly.
They can't process it.
No. What they need most in that moment is just to feel understood. To feel like their emotion, even if it seems totally illogical to us, is seen and accepted.
That makes perfect sense. When you're upset, you don't want solutions immediately. You want someone to get it.
Absolutely. And the source suggests kids often just give us a tiny peek at what's really churning inside. We as parents have to get good at guessing the rest.
Putting words to feelings they might not even have words for yet.
Exactly. So a kid comes home, says, "The teacher yelled at me." Instead of jumping to, "Well, what did you do?"
You connect with the feeling first.
Yes. Something like, "Wow, that must have been really embarrassing," or "That sounds like it made you furious," or maybe, "Ouch, that must have really hurt your feelings."
You're not asking for the details yet, just acknowledging the emotional hit.
Right, because the source is really clear. Those disturbing feelings, they fuel misbehavior. You have to deal with the feelings before you can expect the behavior to change.
There's the example of Ben, the 12-year-old complaining about homework.
Yeah, his mother initially just saw laziness. He doesn't take responsibility.
But Ginott suggests it was probably deeper feelings driving that.
Likely, yes, maybe feeling frightened of his teacher, frustrated, hopeless, overwhelmed by the task.
And the suggested response isn't nagging. It starts with empathy.
Yes, like first just an acknowledging sound. Then reflecting his feeling tied to the situation. Sounds like you're worried you won't be able to get that poem and a story done by tomorrow. Yeah, no wonder you feel overwhelmed.
That validates his struggle, doesn't it?
It does. And the source notes, look, many of us, parents and kids alike, we weren't really taught how to talk about feelings directly, so they often come out sideways.
As anger or blame or just shutting down.
Right. But learning to hear the fear or the sadness or the helplessness behind the anger, that's crucial because, as Ginott says, only when kids feel right can they think clearly and act right.
And this is maybe counterintuitive. Telling a kid their feelings are wrong or silly doesn't make them disappear.
Not at all. It just pushes them down. They only really diminish, lose their power when someone accepts them with sympathy, with understanding.
That burnt toast example illustrates this so well.
Oh, it's fantastic, isn't it? The discussion group scenario. Chaos morning, spouse burns the toast.
Scenario 1. My God, when will you learn to make toast? The reaction, rage, wanting to throw the toast.
Right. Scenario 2, the helpful spouse. Honey, let me show you how. Reaction. Feeling stupid. Even worse.
But then scenario 3. Wow, another difficult Friday. Everyone's demanding your attention. I don't know how you manage.
And suddenly, the person feels great. Grateful. Capable. Same burnt toast. Same chaos. Totally different feeling.
The parallel for talking to kids is just stark. Criticism, even helpful advice that feels like criticism, it fuels negativity.
But acknowledging the difficulty, the feeling underneath, even if it's just the stress of a rough morning, that can change everything.
The source also talks about ambivalent feelings, those mixed up emotions.
Yeah, like you seem to feel two ways about your teacher, or you seem to admire your brother, but you also resent him sometimes.
Just naming the contradiction calmly.
Exactly. Not trying to fix it, just reflecting it. It helps the child see that having mixed feelings is normal, understandable, not something weird or bad.
Which leads to this really sophisticated view. All feelings are legitimate. Positive, negative, mixed, even fantasies.
Right. Judgment doesn't apply to feelings. It applies only to actions, to conduct.
So we don't choose our emotions, but we can choose how we act on them.
Yes, but only if we actually know what we're feeling. And the source points out many of us have been sort of educated out of knowing our own feelings.
Okay, let's shift to praise. We're always told praise builds confidence. Good job. You're so smart.
Seems obvious, doesn't it? But Ginott argues that kind of evaluative praise can sometimes backfire. It can create tension, even lead to misbehavior.
How? That feels really backward.
Well, think about a child who just felt, say, really jealous of a new baby sibling, maybe even wished the baby would go away.
Okay.
Then a parent comes along and says, "You are such a good, loving big brother." The child might feel conflicted. That praise doesn't match their inner reality at that moment.
So they might act out to kind of prove the praise wrong, show their true self.
Exactly. It's often unconscious, but they might misbehave to align their actions with those uncomfortable feelings, which feel more real than the praise.
So what's the alternative? How should we praise?
The source suggests descriptive praise. Instead of evaluating the child, "You are good," you describe what you see and appreciate about the effort or the help or the result.
Ah, so the child gets to draw their own conclusion. I did a good thing. I am helpful.
Precisely. Ginott uses this analogy of a magic canvas. Our descriptive words are the canvas, and the child paints their own realistic, positive self-image on it.
Like the example of Betty rearranging the kitchen cabinets.
Right. Instead of, "Good job, you're a hard worker," the mother describes. "Wow, the dishes and glasses are all in order now. That was a lot of work, but you did it. Thank you."
And Betty thinks, Mom noticed. I got it done. I am a good worker. It feels earned.
It's earned, it's specific, it reflects reality. There's also that powerful story about 13-year-old June who handled a potential burglar.
Right. Her parents didn't just say you were so mature.
No, her father described her actions. He said something like, her behavior fit Hemingway's definition of courage, grace under pressure. He described how she kept cool, did what needed doing, and said they were filled with respect for her.
That's incredibly validating. It focuses on the action and its qualities.
And those specific, realistic things kids conclude about themselves, that becomes their inner self-talk. That's what builds real, solid mental health.
Okay, let's tackle misbehavior now. The source talks about these self-defeating cycles parents get stuck in.
Oh, yes. Like 5-year-old Oliver throwing a ball near a window, dad escalates immediately with a huge threat. If that ball hits the window, I'll beat the living daylights out of you.
Which, of course,
Leads to a broken window and the father carrying out the threat in anger. It's provocation, threat, escalation, punishment, a downward spiral.
contrast that with Peter, the 7-year-old shooting a pop gun at his baby brother.
Totally different response from his mother. Calm, firm, focused on the action. First, not at the baby, shoot at the target.
Offering an alternative.
Right. Then when he does it again, she takes the gun away and states the rule impersonally. People are not for shooting.
She stopped the behavior, stated the limit, but didn't attack Peter.
Exactly. She upheld the standard safety, respect without damaging his ego. No, you're mean or you're bad. It implies alternatives while stopping the unacceptable act. No nagging, no threats, no blow-up.
The source is also pretty tough on the if-then bribe strategy. If you're nice, then we'll go to the movies.
Right. It might work short-term, maybe, but it doesn't build internal motivation. And it can subtly send a message of doubt, like, if you stop wetting the bed, implies, we're not sure you can.
And there's a moral issue too, right? You can teach kids to misbehave just to get bribed back into line.
Yeah, it can lead to bargaining, even a kind of emotional blackmail. What will you give me if I behave? Not ideal.
And extracting promises. Promise me you'll never do that again.
The source basically calls that useless, like
Yeah.
trying to draw a check on a bank with no account. It just sets everyone up for disappointment.
Another big one. Sarcasm.
Oh, the sound barrier, as Ginott calls it. Those comments that just shut down communication completely.
Are you deaf? Were you raised in a barn? Things like that.
They're not corrective, they're just humiliating. They create defensiveness, silence, a total barrier to connection or learning anything.
And just like denying feelings, denying a child's perception causes conflict too. The salty soup example again.
Yep. Mom says, no, it's not. Instead of just, oh, it tastes too salty for you. Acknowledge their reality, even if it differs from yours. You don't have to agree, just acknowledge.
What about when parents get angry? Because we do. The source says resolving not to be angry is kind of pointless.
Anger happens. It's a fact of life. The key for emotionally healthy parents, Ginott says, is to be aware of the anger and use it as information. Something needs attention.
But express it without attacking the child.
Exactly. Express it congruently. Let your words match your feeling, but aim it at the situation or the behavior, not the child's character.
Like the mom seeing the beach stuff everywhere instead of, you're so lazy, she says.
It makes me mad to see this mess. She owns her feeling, directs it at the situation, it vents her anger, gives the child feedback on the impact, but avoids insults and humiliation.
Good tip. Don't yell in front of their friends.
Definitely not. That's incredibly shaming.
Okay, let's talk about fostering responsibility. The source says it's not just about chores.
Right. Chores help run a house, but that deep sense of responsibility. Ginott argues it's absorbed more through identifying with parents the child loves and respects.
So it starts with the parents' attitudes and skills, like handling feelings well.
Exactly. Modeling how to cope with feelings, setting limits respectfully, that's where it begins.
This ties into the tyranny of timetables, telling kids, hurry up.
Often makes them slow down. It's a passive resistance thing.
So instead,
With realistic time frames, state expectations neutrally. The bus arrives in 10 minutes. Dinner's at 6. It's 5:30 now. Remove the nagging, the personal pressure.
remember that breakfast example? Debbie complaining, mom getting defensive.
Yeah, and the whole point, getting ready for school, gets lost in the argument. It highlights this core principle. Kids resist less when requests respect their autonomy.
How do you do that when they still have to get dressed?
Give voice and choice whenever possible. You set the non-negotiable boundary, we have to leave for school, but offer small choices within it.
Eggs scrambled or fried. Which shirt today?
Exactly. Or letting an older child manage their own morning timeline once the departure time is clear, it gives them agency.
Like Todd checking the thermometer to pick his jacket. Parent sets the rule, wear a jacket. Todd makes the judgment call.
Precisely. Same idea with homework. Its main value, according to the source, isn't just the subject matter, it's the child learning to work independently.
So parents should provide indirect help. Environment, listening.
Yes. Not jumping in to teach or criticize, which can make the child feel inadequate. If Helen doesn't want to do homework, instead of nagging,
The mother could state a consequence neutrally.
like, when the table is clear, dessert will appear. It's impersonal, links action to outcome, puts the responsibility on Helen.
And allowance. Not a reward for chores.
No, it's an educational tool for learning about money. Needs a clear policy on what it covers. If they mess up, discuss it calmly, like a business matter, but don't withhold it out of anger for something unrelated. It's about financial literacy.
Okay, crucial skill,
Hmm.
setting limits. Ginott distinguishes between permissiveness and over-permissiveness.
Right. Permissiveness means accepting the child's feelings and fantasies. That's good. Over-permissiveness means allowing unacceptable actions. That's not helpful. So discipline is about being permissive with feelings, but firm about behavior.
How do you do that effectively?
State the unacceptable conduct clearly, then offer an acceptable substitute. Dishes are not for throwing. Pillows are for throwing. Clear, total limits, stated firmly.
And crucially, in a way that saves face for the child. Unlike yelling at 8-year-old Annie in the store, you're not even fit to own a toy.
Oh, that's just devastating. The better way is firm on the limit, empathetic to the feeling. No, you can't have a toy today. That's the limit. Then you really wish you could have one of those toys. I wish I could get it for you today. That mirrors the desire.
You validate the wish, but hold the line on the action.
Exactly. Same if a child throws a stone at a sibling. Stop the action immediately. Not at her, at a tree. Then address the feeling. You can be as angry as you want, but no hurting people. Separate feeling from act.
And keep limits concise, impersonal. It's bedtime, not you're acting like a baby.
Yes. And provide lots of outlets for physical energy to help kids manage tension.
The source is also really clear about hitting. No hitting parents.
No hitting. I can never let you do that. And physical punishment in general is strongly discouraged. It teaches aggression.
And it can mess with conscience development, the bookkeeping idea.
Yeah, the child feels the spanking pays for the misdeed, wipes the slate clean so they feel free to do it again without guilt. Ginott argues it hinders internalizing right and wrong.
Let's move into some complex family stuff. Jealousy. The source calls it a tragic tradition.
Rooted in that deep desire for exclusive parental love. It's almost inevitable with siblings, especially when a new baby arrives. Feels like an invasion to the older child.
And the key is acknowledging the feeling again.
Yeah.
You wish the baby wasn't here sometimes.
Yes. Bringing it out into the open validates it. Remember 3-year-old Jordan? When his mom acknowledged his resentment, he said, "I wish he'd go away." When she didn't, he acted out physically toward the baby.
So, repressed jealousy finds other outlets. Nightmares, bad behavior. Better to let it be expressed in words.
Definitely. And interestingly, the source says it's not just natural differences that fuel rivalry, but parental overprizing of certain traits, looks, smarts, whatever, that intensifies it more.
And instead of perfect fairness, which is impossible,
Grant older kids their privileges openly. Later bedtime, allowance. Let younger kids see things to look forward to and acknowledge the younger one's feelings. You wish you were older too, while holding the line.
avoid demanding sacrifices like give the baby your crib.
Right. The core message is about loving children uniquely, not uniformly. Cherish their differences. Undivided attention when you're with one child means more than trying to perfectly balance everything.
What about other anxieties? Separation anxiety.
The source uses the example of preparing 3-year-old Yvette for her mom's hospital stay. Meaningful preparation is key.
How do they do that?
Play therapy with dolls, acting it out, photos of mom, recorded messages from mom, tangible reassurances.
Guilt is mentioned too,
Okay.
in small doses but not as the main course.
And parental conflict, the Civil War. Kids feel anxious, often blame themselves, they can get caught in the middle, learn to manipulate. Parents need to handle disagreements privately, calmly.
Especially tough during divorce, when kids might be used as pawns.
Absolutely. They need constant reassurance, loved by both, not involved in the fights. And they need space to grieve the change.
And anxiety about death. Kids don't always grasp permanence.
They might feel abandoned, blame themselves. The source argues strongly against shielding kids from family sorrow. Let them grieve. It deepens their humanity.
Okay, a tricky one. Talking about sex and values, parents often feel awkward.
Hugely awkward. But the source stresses open communication is vital, especially with teens. But it only happens if there's already trust, and parents can listen without judgment.
It contrasts that with parents who shut down questions, like Selma's and Juliet's mothers.
Right. And points out that some parents, maybe from certain religious views, mistakenly use guilt to teach values about sex, even for normal curiosity.
Like Samantha asking about kissing games and her mom reacting with shame instead of acknowledging her interest in discussing appropriate behavior.
Yeah, a missed opportunity. And effective sex ed, Ginott says, starts way earlier. It starts with the parents' own comfort with their bodies and sensuality, conveyed non-verbally.
When do you give information?
When they ask, a toddler asking about body parts, simple, factual names. That's your penis, where babies come from. They grow in a special place inside the mommy. Simple, honest, age-appropriate answers. Be open to follow-up questions.
Masturbation.
Viewed as natural, if done publicly, a calm reminder it's private. No shame, no big reaction.
Young kids exploring each other's bodies.
Avoid "what are you doing?" which invites embarrassment or lies. Instead, a calm, direct statement. Okay, time for both of you to get dressed now and find a different game. Keep the tone unalarming.
What about preteen same-sex friendships, maybe experimentation?
The source frames this as often a normal phase, sometimes a prelude to heterosexual development, while noting research shows a small percentage identify as homosexual long-term.
So the approach should be acceptance and honesty.
Yes, if questions about homosexuality come up, discuss it openly without judgment. Explain what it means simply, and always reinforce values like honesty and integrity in all relationships.
The examples of Natalie and Joshua show how parental avoidance makes honest talks with teens impossible later.
Exactly. Encourage teens to be honest with themselves, resist peer pressure, understand sex isn't the same as love.
And that tricky question about providing contraceptives.
The source shares a psychologist's view. If a teen asks a parent for the pill, it might mean they aren't fully ready to take adult responsibility.
The idea being that making the decision and taking the steps themselves is part of that responsibility.
Yes, like Sally's mother putting it back on her. If you feel ready for sex, you're ready to talk to your doctor about pills, shifting the agency back to the teen.
Okay, let's wrap this up. The ultimate goal, according to this source, isn't just raising successful kids, but helping a child become a mensch, a decent human being.
And crucially, using humane methods. The how matters just as much as the what.
So those key principles: acknowledge feelings, describe, don't evaluate, set limits respectfully, give voice and choice, avoid the harmful stuff like threats, bribes, sarcasm, hitting.
Those are the tools for that humane process. It comes back to parents often being unskilled, not unkind, learning specific ways to handle tough moments without attacking the child.
There's that point about trained spontaneity versus impulsivity.
Right. The psychologist who reacts perfectly to spilled paint in therapy, but maybe yells if their own kid spills paint.
So the goal is for these effective techniques to become almost automatic.
Yes, a kind of trained spontaneity. It means looking at our first gut reaction and consciously choosing a response that actually helps. Talk less, listen more, express anger cleanly, look for solutions, not blame.
It's about parents constantly learning, applying this knowledge, and realizing just how much impact their everyday words and actions have.
Because kids learn what they live, it shapes their character.
So there we have it. Parenting, as this source really underlines, it's not just instinct, it's a craft. It takes skill, awareness, practice.
And we've dug into some powerful ideas from this classic text. The absolute game changer of acknowledging feelings, the hidden dangers in things like praise or sarcasm, the art of setting limits with respect, how voice and choice build responsibility, and why loving kids uniquely is key.
Our aim was really to give you a shortcut to some of these core ideas drawn straight from Ginott's wisdom to help you connect better with the children in your own life.
Because the source leaves us with this incredibly potent image. Children are like wet cement.
Wet cement, meaning everything makes a mark.
Every word that falls on them leaves an impression.
So if children really are like wet cement and every single word leaves a mark, how mindful are we truly being of the words we choose in those everyday moments? The easy ones and the hard ones? Something to think about.